Number 12 is the approval of agreement with Pioneer Realty Incorporated to release, it's to release right to lease certain property. And Tilly?
When the town of Cicero originally deeded the property over to the Development Corporation, there was a reservation by the town of a right to lease a portion of the premises for a town hall. What this agreement would do is to release this portion of the property from that agreement, and of course this portion is the northerly portion, or I shouldn't say northerly, it's the westerly portion, I think, of the property, which is not where the town hall was supposed to go anyway, and it was more in the middle of the project. So what we would do here is we just, and this is an agreement kind of to agree, we're agreeing to release our right to lease if and when at the time Pioneer continues or finishes their development. So this is null and void if Pioneer for some reason changes their mind and moves, then this goes away. Yes.
I have a question relative to this. The agreement then encumbers the whole property.
The current deed, yes, there was not a specific place for the town hall to be located when the original deed was deeded over to the CLEC. So what this is doing is saying, the agreement's still there, but not to this portion of the property, basically.
Was there a designation of an area size what the lease what the protocol for that
No.
particular lease would be? It just says somewhere on this entirety of this property.
Yes, it wasn't specified at all. Conceptually, it was supposed to go in a certain place, but that was about all it was the concept.
Yeah, it was supposed to go to the south of the
Right.
library, behind the houses, down there.
Yeah, there's
The
a
property comes back and went down towards Cicero. There's two houses right there, and that was the property that was supposed to go for the town hall and a new highway garage.
Well, there's a map, there was a map that I have with me, I can show you that there was a great lawn that was.
Right,
supposed
that
to be-
was over towards the library.
In the town hall, it was originally envisioned to be right next to the great lawn.
Right, but it would have been past it.
Right.
It would have been south of it.
Right,
Yeah.
far away from this project.
But I don't know how it never got put in there, because everybody talked about a new town hall at the time,
Yeah. Nobody had the money to build this.
and they still don't.
Was there any language in there relative to the lease in the terms of that as to
No.
what that would be? It just said the town has a right to lease this property.
Yeah, and I do have that language, I just don't have it with me, Jim. I'll email it or fax it to you tomorrow morning. But it's a very general.
Would it be wise to, before entering this agreement, to negotiate that particular and define what that lease will be?
Well, it would if you knew what you were gonna do. I mean, it's gonna be up to it's a reservation to build a new town hall. I don't think at this point in time we're ready to even think about that. So to try to pin it down at this point in time is, that's fine.
That entire parcel is about 120 acres,
Yes,
and Pioneer is proposing to take 18 of the 120 acres.
correct.
So all we're saying is that on those 18 acres that will be purchased eventually by Loretto, that we're disencumbering those 18 acres
On this reservation.
from having to, if we wanted to build a town hall there, we wouldn't build it on those 18 acres.
That's correct, right. And it leaves us open to build it anywhere else in the rest of the project.
And there's no contingency upon the property owner to compensate the town for this particular release.
No.
So why do we need to give it to them?
Well, because from a title standpoint, the title insurance, they see this as sort of a cloud on the title. So they want to have this gone so that when they get the title insurance, there is no cloud on the title.
I mean,
Right now, they've got to purchase the 18 acres.
Right.
Okay, and they've got to purchase it from the whole piece. Well, the whole piece has this reservation of right. So what they want to do is to take out that from the 18 acres so that it's free and clear with no encumbrances. We're still reserving the right
We
to
still
build.
are reserving a piece of property,
Yeah,
and
absolutely,
we're not losing.
that's correct. All we're saying in effect is we're not going to build this town hall on those 18 acres.
Right.
That's all it is.
That's really all it is.
And like I said, the owner of the property, are they willing to, at this point, enter in any type of a agreement to designate any area or provide any compensation for the town for this release? Or didn't that occur?
No, the owner of the property is not the developers. The developers, you know, really not in a position to, they want to buy the property, but they want to buy it free and clear, so they're not asking, they're not willing to give us money for it. They're paying the owner of the property for this release, or for the property.
Because we voted for the project, obviously everybody
Yes.
up on the board's in agreement with the project, now it's just basically releasing this, which, in my opinion, has some type of value.
So if we didn't release it, they wouldn't be able to buy it free and clear. I mean, we have, unless they wanted to pay for it, but I don't think that was their intention. And
But
that's what,
doesn't this allow us though we have an opportunity on the other acreage?
oh, sure. I mean, you can build it anyway.
Right, anywhere on that acreage. It's not limiting us to it, it's just moving. We weren't gonna be there in the first place.
Right.
That wasn't the area that we were designating for the town hall.
And in terms of a negotiation with Loretto, they know where the town hall was supposed to be. They know that it wasn't gonna be on this land anyway, so to go back and ask them to give us some money, I mean, it's a little bit disingenuous in my opinion.
Mm. Well, my thought is now is a point where there could be some negotiating room or some leverage if we want to designate a certain portion of the remaining acreage, so we're guaranteed something.
You can
As
still,
opposed to,
well, you can still do that with the owner. This is not with the
Correct.
owner. This is with Pioneer. They don't own the rest of the property. So at some point in time, if you want to sit with the owner and say, let's finalize this thing, or let's put it someplace, sure, we can do that. I mean, I just don't think, obviously, at this point in time, that we're ready to build a new town hall. Unless there's some stimulus money.
Something comes along, we don't know about. Tim, did you want to say something?
Hi, Tim Murphy, Knoll Road. I gave you guys all that before the meeting because I didn't want to come in and, I had a different presentation when I originally came here, and I decided to see what you would think about this. I think that, I'll just read it. Cicero Town Board 210, Article 8, Town Charges, 5-30, Conflicts of Interest, General Municipal Law, Article 18, Section C, Additional Statutory Provisions, the prohibition of the use of public monies contained in Article 8, Section 1 of the State Constitution should also be kept in mind that this prohibition relates to the giving or lending of public monies or property to or aid in of any individual, association, corporation, partnership, etc. And I put a quote in the bottom I thought was relative. The law doth punish man or woman that steals the goose off the common, but lets the greater felon lose that steals the common from the goose. 1764. Thank you for letting me speak, but I really think you should hold off. Mr. Court's right. There is leverage maneuverability here, and to sign off on it, I think is premature. Thank you.
You know, I would think that we might want to defer this until next meeting, so we can just make sure we're not giving anything away.
You can, I think the board was reminded by Pioneer and Loretto that they have a time constraint on their financing. So, you know, the longer they hold off on this, the harder it is for them to complete their financing. It's up to you. You know, to be honest with you, Vern, how much you gonna ask for the release?
I don't care.
I have no idea.
The only thing that I'm looking at is, this is taxpayers, really, this is taxpayers' property, whatever we end up using. And I just don't want to see us losing.
We're not giving away any property.
No.
Well,
You're buying
We have a
it.
right to lease that we're keeping. We're just giving them that right to lease away on this portion of the property. I don't know what that's.